Hello crochet friends, welcome to Crazy Cool Crochet. This is Sylvia, and in this project we are going to be making the crochet granny square top in pastels. Also we are using number 3, lightweight, and I happen to be using Hobby Lobby's Baby Bee Sweet Delight. Now all the detail regarding the colors and how much yarn was used, information regarding different sizes, all of that will be found in the description area, the white space below the video. You have to manually open that up. So figure out how to do that. It's different for whatever device you are on. So figure that out, open it up, and get a lot more detail. You can also go to the blog, crazycoolcrochet.com, and get the written pattern. There will also be a link for my Etsy shop so that you'll be able to get the printable pattern. Those links also will be in the description area below the video. In addition to the yarn, we're going to need scissors, a yarn needle, and the crochet hook is a G or 4.25 millimeter. So another thing that will differentiate this granny square top is we are starting with circles, which is nothing new. I could have gone with something much more elaborate, but I wanted to keep the design as simple as possible so that it's accessible to more crocheters, especially beginners. So we do start with circles, and then when we get to the lavender, the second lavender row, then we start to square it off. And thereafter, all the rows are the typical granny square squares. And of course we make 2 of these panels, the front and the back. And now we'll do the sleeves. We're going to start with a chain of 4. Then we're going to join into the first chain to form a ring and chain 4. Those of you who prefer or are comfortable with the magic ring, feel free to use that. Now we are going to work 15 triple crochets into the center of the ring. So with a triple crochet, you yarn over twice. Enter the center of the ring, pull up your yarn, pull through 2 strands, pull through the next 2 strands, pull through the last 2 strands, and that's a triple. Two, 2, 2. Yarn over twice. Two, 2, and 2. So do that until you complete 15 triple crochets. Now as you were working around the ring, you pull the tail as you're working and incorporate that into your stitches, just like that. This is number 15. And now we're going to join into the top of that beginning chain 4 with a slip stitch to close up the ring. And now chain 3. Now we're going to work double crochets into the spaces between the triple crochets. So yarn over, go into that first space with a double crochet, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, chain 1, double crochet into the next space, and chain 1, and work your way around. Enter your last double crochet into that last space, and then join again at the top of the beginning chain with a slip stitch, chain 3. So you would have created 16 double crochets, now counting that chain 3. Now double crochet into the first space, chain 1, then 2 double crochets into the next space, chain 1, 2 double crochets into the next space, chain 1, and continue that around. So 2 double crochets in each space, chain 1. You enter your last 2 double crochets into that last space. Now we're going to join the ring at the top of that turning chain at the beginning of the row, and we are going to change colors. So insert your hook and then stop. Then bring in the white. So now do your slip stitch with the new color. And tug on your yarn to tighten everything up. Now chain 3. Now you will have worked 31 double crochets in the peach, not counting the beginning chain. Now we're going to enter 3 double crochets into that first space. So not the one right under the turning chain, but right in here. And you will cut off your previous color. Leave a tail to weave in. So every time we change colors, we're going to cut off the yarn. Now continue around with 3 double crochets into each of the chain 1 spaces. And take care that there are no chains in between. You're just going right into the next space with your 3 double crochets. When you get to the last space, enter 2 double crochets. And then join at the top of that beginning chain 3 with a slip stitch. And as you can see, now that forms the set of 3. And altogether you will have 47 double crochets, not counting that beginning chain. So chain 3. Now work 1 double crochet into that first space under that turning chain, or under the chain. And now in each of the spaces between the sets of double crochets, we're going to work 4 double crochets. So just skip right over to the next space. There you go. So just do 4 double crochets into each space. Okay, now you will work your last 2 double crochets into that last space. So you did your 4 over here, you've got 1 more space left right by that beginning chain. Enter 2 in there, and that will complete your set of 4. Now we're going to change color to the blue. So start your join, grab your blue, do your slip stitch, and a chain 3. Now for this row you want to work a little more loosely, and don't forget to cut off that white. And we will be working under the 2 strand chains that form at the top. I hope that's showing against that white background, but there's the 2 strands, and you're going under those 2 strands. Okay, so under or on top of that very first double crochet below, do a half double. Okay, so there's your 2 strands, 3 loops on the hook, pull through all 3 for a half double. Okay, now under the very next chain, another half double, 3 loops on the hook, pull through all 3. And you will be doing that under every chain around. Or every stitch around. Now don't work too tightly so it doesn't buckle up. At the end of row 6, the blue row, you would have completed 63 of the half double crochets, joined as usual with the beginning chain, bring in the white. So do your slip stitch with the white, chain 2, and then work a single crochet into the first stitch and a single crochet into each stitch around, and again we are working under those 2 strand chains. So just work your single crochet into each of those 2 strand chains. And you will have completed 63 when you come back around. At the end of row 7, you will have completed 63 single crochets. Then you join and bring in the lavender, chain 3. In the same space, start a double crochet, 3 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2 loops, 4 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, start another double crochet, 4 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2, 4 3 loops on the hook remaining, pull through all 3, chain 2. Skip the next space. In the next one, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over one last time, pull through 2 loops, 4 loops on the hook remaining, pull through all 4, chain 2. I'm going to call those double crochet clusters. Skip the next space and then repeat that. Yarn over as if for a double crochet, pull through the first 2 loops, 2 loops remain. Yarn over. Now you've got 4 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2, 3 loops remain. Yarn over, pull through 4 5 loops on the hook, pull through the first 2, 4 loops remain, pull through all 4, chain 2. That is the cluster that you will repeat in every other space. So skip the next space. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 loops remain, pull through all 4, chain 2. Repeat that all the way around. At the end of row 8, you will have completed 32 double crochet clusters, and that does include the very first one. At the end of that row, you will join and bring in the white and chain 2. Now into this next stitch, you can see the chain on the bottom and then the 2 double crochets. So on top of that middle post, work a single crochet. Then chain 1. Now skip the 2 chain space, and now you see these 2 chains over the cluster. Single crochet into the first one, single crochet into the second one, chain 1, skip the space, and then repeat that. Single crochet over the cluster, single crochet again, chain 1, skip the space. You've got your 2 chains above the cluster, single crochet on the first, single crochet in the second, chain 1, skip, and then repeat. At the end of row 9, you will have completed 63 single crochets in white. Then you will join and bring in the peach. Now single crochet into that very first single crochet. Single crochet into the chain space. Single crochet into each of the next 2 single crochets below. So go right into the middle of the single crochet, work a single crochet, and again into the next one. And then single crochet into the chain space, single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets, single crochet in the chain space, and repeat. So single crochet in each of the next 2 single crochets. So do that all the way around. At the end of row 10, you will have completed 96 single crochets in the peach. Then you will join and bring back the white. Then you chain 1. And now we're going to enter a single crochet into each single crochet below. And take care that you are actually working into the heart of the single crochet. So you can see how they are lining up right on top of each other. Okay, so you're going into the single crochet. Work all the way around. At the end of row 11, in the white, you would have completed 95 single crochets. Then you would have joined the round to bring in the lavender. And let me show you where we're at. So you would have chained 3 in the lavender, and in the same space, work 2 double crochets. And then skip the next 2 spaces below, work 3 double crochets into the next space. Working 3 into 1 space. Then skip the next 2 spaces, 3 double crochets into the next space. Skip the next 2 spaces, 3 double crochets into the next, skip 2, 3, skip 2, 3. You will work those sets of 3 double crochets for a total of 7 sets. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So do not count those 3 at the beginning. That's going to be a separate corner. Okay, so 7 of the sets. Then after the 7th one, you skip the 2 spaces. Now you work 3 double crochets into the next space, chain 2. Work 3 more double crochets into the same space. You're forming a corner. Then you skip 2, and then complete 7 sets of the 3 double crochets. After the 7th set, skip 2 spaces and work another corner. So that's where you enter 3 double crochets in the next space, chain 2, 3 double crochets in the same space. Now you've got another corner. So then repeat that with the 7 sets of the 3 double crochets, form a corner, and then complete another 7 sets of the double crochet, and then we'll finish off that next corner. It's the end of the row. Work your last 3 double crochets. You should have 1 space remaining, which you will skip. Then we will go back into the very first space that we worked in. And work 3 single crochets so we can complete that corner. Chain 2, and then join into the top of that beginning chain 3. And of course you will bring in your new color here. So this is where we are, and you can see how it's beginning to square off. So then from here on we will work the squares. Now for row 13 we are working in white, and we started with a chain 3, and then we worked 2 double crochets into that same space. And now we're going to be working into the spaces between the double crochet sets. So now we're working 3 double crochets into the space. And skip over to the next space, 3 double crochets. Next space, 3 double crochets. And we will do that for 8 sets, not counting that beginning corner. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we form a corner. And that, of course, is 3 double crochets, chain 2. In the same space, 3 double crochets. Then you will continue with your sets of 3 double crochets into each space. And that will be 8 sets of double crochets, and then work the corner. And of course you're working the corner into the corner below. You had that chain 2 space, and that's where you're working your next corner. 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Then 8 sets of the 3 double crochets, work the next corner. 8 sets, and now you're back to where we started. So then from here we will join into that beginning chain 3 with the blue. So into the top of that chain 3 space, grab your blue, do the same slip stitch join that you've been doing. Now chain 3. Work the 2 double crochets into that same space. So there's the beginning of that first corner, and then just continue in the pattern where you are working your 3 double crochets into those spaces between your sets of double crochets below. And each row will be increasing. So you will have on this row, row 14, you will have 9 sets of the double crochets. So there we have the 9 sets of the double crochets, and then you form a corner into the corner and continue around. And this will be the pattern for the remainder of the panel. So you can follow along with the color changes as follows. Now for row 15 in white, you will continue in the pattern with the sets of double crochets and then your corners. In row 16, you're still continuing with the white. However, now we are following the same pattern but with single crochets. So do exactly the same as you've been doing, except use single crochets instead of double crochets. Then on the next row, you will switch to lavender and continue in your sets of double crochets as you had been, and your corners. Switch to the white, and then do the pattern in the single crochets. So 3 single crochets in each space, and your corners with single crochets. Then the next row, you're still in the white, and continuing in the pattern with the double crochets and your corners. The next row will be blue, and we're working in single crochets and single crochets in the corners. The next row is white in the regular double crochet pattern, then lavender in the single crochet pattern, then 2 rows of white in the double crochet pattern, and then we end with single crochets. So that would be row 25, and we're switching to the peach color. So now what we're doing here is entering a single crochet in each stitch. So even in the corner, you just enter the 1 single crochet into your corner stitches. And you're working under the 2-strand chains. It's just a simple single crochet border. When you get to the corner, you don't need to enter any extra single crochets, but you do want to keep your tension a little bit looser so that this doesn't tighten up or buckle up. But just 1 single crochet again into each stitch. And then you're done. Then you can cut off the yarn. And of course you'll have to go back and weave in your ends. And then we will seam the panels together and add the sleeves. Now we'll start on the sleeves. So we start with a row of half double crochet, end with a row of half double crochet. Do 12 rows in white, 1 row of each in the pastels, and then 12 rows again in the white. We start with a chain of 70. And of course this is optional. If you want to keep it as sleeveless, skip the sleeves. Okay, so on the 3rd chain from the hook, there's 1, 2, 3. We work a half double. So pull through all 3 for a half double crochet. Then chain 1, skip a chain, half double in the next chain. And half double again in the next chain. Chain 1, skip 1, and then half double in each of the next 2 chains. I'm sure you can hear the geese outside. Chain 1, skip 1, half double in each of the next 2, and you will do that all the way across the row. At the end of the row, do your last chain 1. You've got 2 chains remaining. Skip 1, enter a half double into the last chain. That last one is usually tight. There we go. Now chain 3 and turn. Now we are going to enter 2 double crochets into that first space. And then 3 double crochets into each of the remaining spaces. So the spaces between the 2 double crochets, or the 2 half doubles below. 3 double crochets. Now into the next space, which is the chain 1 space from the row below. It's another way to look at it. Oops. And then continue that across. 3 double crochets in each space. Now at the end of that second row, you enter 2 double crochets into that last big space, and then 1 into the turning chain. 1 double crochet in the turning chain. Chain 3 and turn. Now we'll be entering 3 double crochets into each of the spaces between the 3 double crochets below. So don't work into that space next to the chains. Work into the larger space for 3 double crochets. And then 3 double crochets in the next large space. And then continue across. At the end of the row, you'll enter your 3 double crochets into that last large space. Then in the space before the turning chain, enter 2 double crochets, and then 1 into the turning chain. Then chain 3. Turn and continue. So you'll start your first set right here into that large space and continue across. And you will continue in this pattern to complete 12 rows of the 3 double crochet sets, 12 rows total. Then we'll change to the blue. Now I'm going to show you how to change colors. You will cut off the previous color, leave a tail to weave in later. So you start the last double crochet in the turning chain. Pull through the first 2 and then stop. Then bring in your next color and complete the stitch with the new color. That's it. And then chain 3. Turn and continue in the pattern. You do 12 rows in the white, 1 in the blue, change to the peach, and then change to the lavender. So 1 row of each of the colored ones, and then 12 rows of the double crochet sets. And then we'll end with half double crochets, the way we started. And we will get to that when we reach the end. Okay, now for the last row of the sleeve, we're going to work in half double crochets to mimic the first row where we used half double crochets. So what you're going to do is enter your first half double crochet into the top of the middle post below. So right in here. Half double, chain 1, skip a stitch, half double into each of the next 2 stitches, chain 1, skip a stitch, half double into each of the next 2 stitches, chain 1, skip 1, and repeat that all the way across. When you get to the end, you will half double in the last 2, well, you will have 3 stitches left. Half double in the 2, and then a half double in the turning chain. And then tie off the yarn. When it comes to weaving in your ends, I am not going to detail that because this video will get too long. This tutorial will get too long. But all I did was take the 2 strands that are near each other and tied them together. And I did a triple knot. And then I'm cutting off these ends. Now, if you want to do the more traditional way, you can weave it in and out with a yarn needle. As far as I'm concerned, that takes too long, and the knots are not going to show on this particular pattern. So this is all I did. I just tied them all together. To seam the 2 panels together, we're going to start at the shoulders. And you want right sides together, right sides are touching each other, wrong sides are up. Since this is a square, each one, it doesn't really matter what's top and bottom and sides, so you can just decide that on your own. Okay, so now, again, you can decide how wide you want the neck opening. I'm going with about a 9-inch opening. So I will seam from the corner about 5 inches on each side, and that will leave me with a 9-inch opening, approximately. So all you do is take your yarn needle length of yarn, in peach, of course, to match the peach here. Start in the corner, Go under 2 strands on each panel. I tie my ends. And just work stitch for stitch. And I'm using a whip stitch, so you just go around and around. And just continue like that for your 5 inches or however far you want to go. And repeat on the other side. Now we are going to take the main panels, the front and the back, and just open them up. There's the neck. Take the sleeve and match it up, wrong side up. These are also wrong side up. And place the center colored row, in this case the peach, center it with the shoulder seam, and then we will be seaming using the same whip stitch that we used previously all the way up, and then tie it off and do the opposite side. Now we will seam the side and under the arm. I usually start at the bottom corner, the same whip stitch, work your way up, and switch to the white yarn and seam down the sleeve. Okay, I'm going to be honest, I'm not usually a fan of granny squares, but wow, this turned out so cute. I surprised myself. I love the little boat neck, and the sleeves are really cute. So all in all, not too shabby. And of course, it looks better on the body. Always, always, always. So if you haven't actually made it, don't worry. It's going to look so cute on you. So give me a thumbs up if you like it too. Down in the white space, leave me a comment. Tell me what you think. Are you going to use different colors? So I hope you like it as much as I do. And come on back for the next one. Thank you.